Hi everyone, thanks so much for coming. I'm going to talk today about my work through the Euclides Institute, specifically as the Fellows Program Manager. So my relationship with the Middle East started last winter when I spent 3 months studying abroad in Israel, the West Bank, and Jordan. And why would I choose to spend 3 months studying abroad in the Middle East instead of going to Tahiti or Trinidad or Thailand? Was because I knew absolutely nothing about the region. So I figured that the best way to go learn about it was to head over to the Middle East, not take the media's word for it, and see it for myself. And I learned so much. The focus of the abroad was looking at peace and sustainability. And so we looked at both the history and politics of the conflict, as well as various sustainable practices that were happening both in the West Bank and Israel and in Jordan as well. And so there were many different takeaways that I had coming back to the US. First of all, I learned how complex the conflict is, and that there's not necessarily some simple solution, as some may imagine. And I was also really taken aback, or just interested to see, as a religion major going over there, and with my excitement to be in the birthplace of all the monotheistic faiths, to see how much religious fundamentalism was over there. And then similarly, that intertwined with how much peace and sustainability are intertwined, and that you can't have one without the other. So it was a really valuable experience. One thing that really stood out to me as well was just when I went into the West Bank, despite having traveled to, I think, 17 countries, that was the place that felt the most like home to me. So we were really grateful for how cared for our group felt, and for the incredible hospitality, and that, I'm always trying to prove the media wrong. So I was told that I was going to go over there and meet all these terrorists, and I can tell you that I did not meet a single one. So that was fun to bust that stereotype as well, and just really go over there and see it for myself and get to experience that. So while I was in the Middle East, I discovered a passion for peace building. And let me show real quick proof that I was there. This is our group in Jerusalem. But while I was in the Middle East, I discovered a passion for peace building. And so coming back to the US, as I was finishing up my undergraduate degree at Principia College in Elsa, Illinois, I started working for the Euclides Institute, which is a nonprofit that focuses on improving relations between the Middle East and the West when we term them the big three, our energy, security, and religion depend on it. And the Euclides Institute was founded by Janessa Gans Wilder, who was the professor on our trip. And it was founded on the heels of spending 2 years in Iraq as a CIA analyst. And she realized the importance of coming back here to America and showing or helping people learn why a relationship with the Middle East is important, the various challenges and opportunities there are for establishing that relationship, and how the relationship between the Middle East and the West is key to bringing about peace. So obviously you can get that the Euphrates is referring to the river, but I'm going to let her specifically explain why it's called the Euclides Institute.
Sitting along the banks of the Euphrates River, which is the most incredible river. Literally, it's a desert all over, except for this beautiful blue stream of life that brings life to the desert, to the parched zones of western Iraq. And so you'll just have swaths of desert on either side, except for this life-giving force in the middle. But this bright blue, there's swaying bulrushes, it's quiet, the birds are chirping. And it struck me at that moment that this river also went right through the middle of Fallujah, right through the middle of the war zone. And that the two things were actually happening coincidentally. Side by side in the same frame is this river of life and beauty and peace, and the death and destruction and war zone. And at that moment, the question arose in my thought, which will you choose? Which will you focus on? Because they're both there. They both seemed, real. And it was like, oh my gosh, of course I have to choose the river because it's the more powerful force, because it goes right through the middle of the war zones unstopped.
So, as you can see, really inspiring to be working with Janessa and focusing on building bridges between the Middle East and the West based on that idea, or her realization as she was sitting at the Euphrates River. So there's Janessa as she was over in Iraq working. So, like I was saying, we build bridges between the Middle East and the West, and primarily that's through the educational programs that we offer. We have two different branches, and I'm going to focus at the end of the presentation on the Fellows Program, which is the branch I run. But we have a travel study program that's open to, we run adult trips as well as the study abroad, which is how I went to the Middle East last winter. And then we have the Fellows Program, which is our academic research branch. And like Meredith said, our goal is to end the clash of civilizations in our lifetime, which I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't know what that meant until last week when I asked my boss. And that refers to Samuel Huntington's article talking about after the post-war, or after the Cold War, that the clash of civilizations is going to be between cultures, specifically between the Muslim world and the West. And so our goal is to end that as opposed to all clashes in the entire world. And we believe that's possible because, there we go, our vision is to end the clash of civilizations in our lifetime. Because of the method we use through informing, inspiring, and transforming. So our goal is to inform 20% of Americans about what's happening in the Middle East, to inspire them by trends of change and methods of hope, and then to transform in a sense of making sure everyone knows that they have the tools that they need to be equipped to bring about peace. And we believe that's possible. The 20% comes from a study done here at Stanford by Everett Rogers talking about what it takes to bring about social change. And it can be overwhelming to think we need 100% of the population behind this idea, but he argues that when 5% of society is behind an idea, it becomes embedded. And when 20% of the population is behind an idea, it becomes unstoppable. So we're targeting this 20% through the educational programs that we offer and using the method inform, inspire, and transform. And while I was in the Middle East, that was definitely my experience. I was informed by what was happening both sides of the conflict, inspired by all the organizations on the ground, both sides, again, of the conflict, working to bring about positive change, and then transformed in a sense that I felt like I could come back and make a difference here in the United States specifically. And besides still having a desire to learn Hebrew and Arabic and return to the region as soon as humanly possible, I also began working as the Fellows Program Manager. So, like I was saying, our Fellows Program is our academic research branch. It's currently based at Principia College, my alma mater, and where my boss and I live. And it's open to any undergraduate or graduate student in the U.S. We're hoping to be educating students specifically and just improving an understanding about the Middle East, as well as working to have them go out into their communities and put on campus events and activities to inform, inspire, and transform others. And so we currently have 13 students at Principia College, and for me, it's been really inspiring to work with students specifically who are on fire about the Middle East, passionate to learn more. Our students are doing individual research projects focused on either water issues in Israel and the Palestinian territories, or Islamic art, or looking at the role of Turkey as a mediator between the East and the West, or some students are studying Hebrew and Arabic. And so we have a wide range of spectrum, a diversity of topics that people are looking into. And it's just really inspiring for me specifically to work with students who are excited to bring about change and looking forward to being part of that 20%. It's one of our fellows. And so our goal this upcoming year, in the next couple years, is to triple the amount of fellows in our program, expanding that to other parts of the U.S. and really working to bring about a higher sense of understanding about what's happening in the Middle East. And so we would love it. We would love to be able to expand the program to students here in this room or in the wider audience. And so in order to learn more, you can definitely visit our website, euphratesinstitute.org. We would love to have everyone as a fellow. And you can also, obviously our adult trips are open. I would encourage everyone to go over to the Middle East themselves if you haven't, don't take my word for it. But we're really inspired because we believe that our generation specifically knows that it's possible to bring about change, it is inspired to bring about change, that we're really seeking healing and peace, and know that it's possible. So help us to prepare for peace. Thank you.